Hello everyone, and welcome back to Yes, I'm a Mom. My name is Tanisha Lacey, and before I get started, I would just want to go ahead and remind you to subscribe, follow, like, comment, share, all of that good stuff, depending upon whatever platform that you're listening on, and to go ahead and get started. Today, I just kind of wanted to talk about the dating game as a single parent. So in a previous episode, I did explain why I am currently single, how that came to be, and all of that good stuff. And I will say that my breakup did open my eyes to a lot of things that I needed to pay attention to. And so bringing that into how I perceive dating now is so much more different than how it was before. And I think that's also because I now have a little one starting all over again. So, first off, you don't have the kind of freedom to just freely date the way that you would normally anyway. But before getting to that point, I think there's a lot that should be focused on anyways. So for starters, I think, and wait, before I get in here, disclaimer, everything I'm about to say is purely based upon my own personal opinions and my experiences and what I've seen around me. So please do not be offended, but this is just what it is. The number one thing I think to do right after a breakup, especially where a child is involved, is to really assess not only what went wrong and what can be done differently, but really getting down to the root of why that relationship wasn't able to be continued in a healthy fashion. And that takes a lot of honesty within yourself and self-awareness, because it can't always just be a blame game of this person did this and that person did that. Because even if you were technically the innocent party, oftentimes there are red flags that are overlooked. And with that being said, there is some accountability that needs to take place on both sides. So first off, let's be honest. What happened? Because of it, you also don't want to have a repeat of that situation again. You don't want to put your kids through, another stressful breakup if it's someone who they've gotten close with, or much less you don't want to go into another situation and then again have another child and another failed relationship. So let's really think about and assess what really happened here and why it wasn't able to continue in a healthy fashion. The other thing is, this is the best time to really get yourself together. And just to correct myself, this technically is the first thing you should do after that breakup, is deal with you. Figuring out why it went wrong is really the second thing. So no matter what it is in your life that may have been off previously, and if you had nothing off previously beforehand, then lucky you. Kudos, congratulations, that's awesome. But for those who do have work to do, whether it be, your confidence levels, how you see yourself, your career, even your parenting skills. Maybe your parenting skills were a little off. Maybe you weren't spending as much quality time as you wanted to with your kids, Maybe they weren't the focus as much as you feel like they should have been. This is that time to really get on point with everything that you've kind of been slacking on and really get your life in order. Because one of the aspects of going into your next relationship, however far down the line that may be, is really having yourself together and being a whole complete self before meeting someone else. And if you're lucky enough to meet someone else before that process is complete, once again, kudos to you. Lucky you. But let's work on not giving the new person or the next person so much work to do with you. Why don't we just work on doing it ourselves before we even get to them? So really focus on what can you improve in your life, and really creating that structure and that safe place for your kids currently. All of that stuff should be in place and laid out and good before that next new element comes into it. Because a lot of times if you haven't worked things out already, and especially when there's kids involved and then you bring in that new element, it just actually further complicates things. It can, rather. Not always, but it very much can. So for me, myself right now, the main things that I wanted to focus on after this breakup was changing careers, which I've done that. Still working on getting comfortable and settled into it and everything, but that part, I wanted to work on bettering my parenting skills for one, because I do have a really bad issue with time management, especially now working from home. So really focusing on carving out dedicated time with my daughter and my son, but my daughter's the smaller one, so she needs the most, attention at this moment. And as difficult as it can get, just trying to work around her, just making that schedule and making sure that she's happy and keeping her lifestyle as toxic free as possible. All of that stuff is the main focus. This is also the time where I'm trying to get back into my health. That's one of the things too that I feel like suffers when you've gotten wrapped up in life, not necessarily a relationship, but that can be a part of it too. You get used to your day in and day out routine, and sometimes you allow yourself to fall by the wayside. And so this is that time where I am trying to regain my health and how I'm eating, and trying to incorporate more exercise and all of that. It's still a struggle for me, and I'm just doing the best I can, and that's really all that we can do. The whole point is to just continue moving forward. So long as you can do that, that's something in and of itself. The other thing I'm working on is also being more outgoing. As I've also mentioned in a previous episode, I have dealt with depression and anxiety for quite a while now, and that at one point had affected how I was with my son when he was smaller, and how my lack of socializing then affected me halting the socializing that he was able to do. So I've been working on that as well with my daughter, because I can already see that she's a very social person already, and I would not want to take that away from her or her lose that because of me. So that's definitely something that I've been paying attention to. And for me, those are pretty much my top things that I want to really work on before entering into a new relationship. Everybody's different, and everyone has a different backstory and circumstance that they're coming from, so the things that you want to work on may be different. But my point is that there's probably something that needs to be touched on, especially if you're coming from a situation where you had, larger issues. You had trust issues, if there was cheating involved, if there was abuse involved or anything like that, you would definitely want to have those things worked out, whether with counseling or therapy. Have that situated. If that was something that your children witnessed or saw or knew of, make sure that they're okay and that they're good before bringing someone new into the picture. Just my opinion, take it or leave it. So everyone's going to have a different process, and it will look different for everyone. So however long that takes you to get these things in order to the point that you feel like you're finally ready to step out there and, put yourself back on the market, then the next thing I would focus on is how you go about doing that. So as a single parent, that can be hard. Just to cut out the time necessary to do so. If you're already working a full-time job and then you're parenting, a lot of your time is already accounted for. So as hard as it is just to simply find time to partake in your own self-care, adding something else on there, like creating a few hours for a date night, that's a whole other ball game. So let me start off by saying that just for that point alone, I personally do prefer to date people who already have kids, because I feel as though they just have a better understanding of that life. It's kind of hard to date someone who does not have kids and they're used to that freedom and that spontaneity, and then here you are trying to figure out, am I free Thursday? They're like, well, what about going away for this weekend? You're like, let me see about a sitter. Not that it can't be done, but it's just a little bit more complicated, and I think it can turn out to be a little frustrating for the both of you, really. If that works and you've had success with that, then that's all good. But I'm just saying, it is easier, in my opinion, to date someone who already has kids, because they get it. They absolutely get it, and they're a lot less likely to really try to hog a lot of your time, because they'll be busy just as much as you are with their own kids, until you guys get to a point of where you're serious enough to actually start merging families and situations and introductions and all of that. The other aspect to that is, how long do you wait before you introduce your kids to a new person? Now, I don't have a designated answer about that. My opinion is more so based on the seriousness of the relationship. Once again, everybody's situation is different. Every circumstance looks different. So only you know what's best for you and yours. But in my personal opinion, it's in your child's best interest, psychologically and emotionally, not to see you with a lot of different partners. This is for, mothers and fathers. So really think about limiting, their exposure to that other person until you know that this is a serious relationship. Not just that I like this person a whole lot, I feel like I'm in love, and not that lustful period, not that whole, rainbows and lollipops feeling, in the very beginning, not that. You can't be so convinced that this is the one. Especially, let's be honest, if you're that kind of person who's in love every time you get with someone, or you think this is the one, every other relationship, if you're that person, you need to wait. Because apparently you've already been proven wrong several times. So really just wait it out and make sure that this is a serious relationship. We both want the same things. We're on the same page. We are in alignment with, our future goals and ideas, and marriage is something that we're both considering, if that's for you. And allow that type of situation where you've already created that foundation for a healthy relationship, then introduce the child so that they can see that, how comfortable you two are and how beautiful what you've created is, and it makes it just a little bit easier for everyone, including kids on both sides, to kind of merge families a little easier. Because you really have to consider, if you weren't able to maintain and hold together the relationship with that child's biological parent, you don't want them to keep having that feeling of loss or separation. So the more that you can minimize that, the better for them. And as a parent, that's what we want, whatever is best for our kids. That doesn't mean that you sacrifice your own happiness. It just means that you're responsible in the way that you handle and conduct yourself for the sake of your child. You can still have fun, just be mindful. And then in regards to actually starting off that fusion of everyone, the introductions and all of that, in my experience, one of the easiest ways to kind of break the ice and have a good introduction with your child and a new partner is doing something that is an activity, something that is outdoors, preferably, something where everyone can have fun, because everyone's more likely to bond when they're having fun. Yes, you can, go out and have a dinner, but dinners can be a little bit boring, and depending on what comes up in the conversation, it can go left really quick. But if you're out doing something that's kind of fun, playing miniature golf or playing sports or something, just something that's interactive that allows people to work together, possibly as a team, it's just easier on the kids to kind of get to know. Now, granted, every child will not be receptive to that new mate, and that's something that is completely understandable to me, because for one, most kids do want their biological parents to remain together. So it can be natural for them to be a little resistant with accepting a new person, a mother or father figure, a new partner to their parent. That won't always be the case, but should you find yourself in that particular situation, it is normal. And the best thing to do is not to pressure the child. Don't pressure the interaction, and don't pressure the child. Really allow them to take that time, because at the end of the day, you kind of owe them that. They didn't ask to be here, and they definitely didn't ask to not have both sides at the same time. So just be mindful of that. Now, overall though, your life isn't over after that breakup, and you know this, and it's not unlikely that you will go on and meet an awesome, amazing person and fall in love, and you guys merge families and you live happily ever after. Like, that is so likely. So go out there and live your best life. I'm just reminding you to be responsible about how you go on out there and do it. So in conclusion, those are just my opinions on dating as a single parent and things to keep in mind. So if you found this helpful or relatable in any way, once again, do go ahead and subscribe, follow, like, comment, share this series. And if you have any comments or messages that you would like to send to me personally, you can definitely email me at yesimthemom@gmail.com. And with that, you guys take care, and I will catch you later. Bye.
Yeah.